Let me tell you something that genuinely annoyed me when I figured it out. Smart people are kind of idiots. And I don't mean that as a joke. I mean it in the most literal, specific, infuriating way possible. Because I used to think intelligence was the solution to everything. Like if you were just smart enough, you'd make better decisions, better relationships, better life. Turns out that's completely wrong. And the evidence has been staring at us the whole time. Think about the smartest person you know. Now think about the dumbest decision you've ever watched them make. I guarantee you can think of one immediately. Maybe it's a relationship they refuse to leave. Maybe it's an argument they doubled down on when they were clearly wrong. Maybe it's just the way they talk to people, like they're the only one in the room with a functioning brain. Here's what's actually happening. Intelligence is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for completely the wrong job. I have this problem myself. Someone starts explaining something to me, and halfway through their second sentence, my brain has already finished their thought, written a counter-argument, predicted their rebuttal, and started getting bored. And then they say something I didn't expect, and I missed it, because I was busy having a conversation with a version of them that only exists in my head. That's not focus. That's your brain being so fast, it laps itself. And here's the really uncomfortable part. The smarter you are, the worse this gets, because your predictions are right more often, which means your brain gets rewarded for jumping ahead, which means it does it more, which means the one time it's wrong, you're completely lost. And everyone thinks you weren't paying attention. But wait, it gets worse. Because the real trap isn't the overthinking. It's not the social awkwardness. It's not even the blank mind when you're trying to speak. The real trap is what your intelligence does when it's wrong. Stupid people have bad ideas. But bad ideas from stupid people are fragile. You can knock them over pretty easily. Bad ideas from intelligent people, those things are fortresses, because an intelligent person doesn't just hold a bad belief. They defend it with evidence, with logic, with an air of absolute confidence. I've watched people, brilliant people, argue themselves into complete nonsense. Not because they were lying, but because their brain is so good at building cases, that it built a case for something that was never true. Here's the thing nobody tells you about intelligence. It doesn't point you toward truth. It points you toward winning. Those are not the same thing. And if you've spent your whole life being the smart one in the room, your brain has learned that being wrong is a threat, not just to your argument, to your identity. So it protects you. Every time you're wrong, your intelligence shows up like a lawyer. Actually, if you look at it from this angle, that's not what I meant. You're missing the context. Sound familiar? Now here's where it gets personal, because this doesn't just affect how you think, it affects how you treat people. Imagine someone who is genuinely excellent at what they do, sharp, decisive, always 2 steps ahead. Watch that person go home and try to have a conversation with their partner. Same energy, same directness, same, let me explain why you're wrong. And the relationship slowly dies. Not from lack of love, from the complete inability to switch modes. Because analytical minds build systems. And systems are supposed to be universal, so they apply the same system everywhere. Work, home, friendships, parenting. One operating system for every situation. And when it breaks down, They don't question the system, they question the people. Why is everyone else so irrational? Mate, that's the trap. So, what do you actually do about it? Here's the part where I'm supposed to give you a clean 5-step solution. I'm not going to do that, because the answer is genuinely uncomfortable. You have to learn to distrust yourself, not in a self-loathing way, in a scientific way. The best scientists don't fall in love with their hypothesis. They try to destroy it. They look for the evidence that proves them wrong. They treat their own conclusions as suspects. That's the move. Every time you feel absolutely certain about something, that certainty is the signal to pause. Not because you're wrong, but because the feeling of certainty and the fact of being right are two completely different things. And intelligent people confuse them constantly. The smartest people I've actually learned from weren't the ones with the most answers. They were the ones who asked questions that made me realize I'd been thinking about something completely wrong. They were comfortable not knowing, not because they were passive, because they understood that being curious is more useful than being certain. Intelligence without that? It's just a very elaborate way of staying stuck. So yeah, smart people are kind of idiots, including me, including probably you. And the moment you can say that without flinching, that's when the intelligence actually starts working for you.